confidence be displayed. Success is unavoidable, desires will be attained, and you are capable. Can't no one stop your hustle, you're resilient and brilliant. Your blessings have no ceiling, you shine and keep grinding. This spiritual remedy is divine and designed for your heart to align with your mind. A prophet for the queendom's hotline. A vision. Fearfully and wonderfully made, confidence be displayed. Success is.
Ladies and gentlemen, hi. Welcome to our very first episode of Her Divine Voice, a podcast by women for women. I'm your host, Beverly Coleman, and joining me is my co-host, Crystal Robles. And today we have an incredible conversation lined up for you today. This is a brand new podcast for us. And so rather than we were thinking just jump right in with new guests and all these things, we said we want to give you an opportunity to get to know who we are and what we represent. And the goal is to earn your listening ear. We want to earn your time. And hopefully each time you go to our podcast, you take away something that you learned, something that blessed you, and hopefully allows you to pay it forward to other women. What do you think about that, Crystal?
I'm so ready for this podcast.
I'm so excited too. This is new for us. Like, this is so exciting. It's a long time coming. When you hear a little bit about who we are, how we met, what we've done, it'll hopefully give you, some room to kind of process, like, this is why women get together. This is why we do what we do. You know what I mean? Yep. And I'm excited about that. I'm a little nervous, I'm going to be honest, but I'm also excited by it. And so before we get started, we're going to share with you a little bit about each other, share with you how we met. Does that sound good, Crystal?
It sounds amazing.
Okay, perfect. So I am, in Florida right now, hailing from Minnesota by way of Chicago, but I now live in Florida. I had a health and wellness business when I met Crystal a little over 10 years ago, or about 10 years at a vendor event. And Crystal was doing beauty products. And literally over time, over the next several years after that, we stayed in touch because I needed her products. So I stayed connected to her. And then after a few years, we connected again I was doing a video for Red Table Talk. I'm one of the Red Table Talk OGs, shout out. But it was a game called We're Not Really Strangers. And I don't know if you've ever heard of that game or ever played that game. But I invited Crystal. I invited, several women that were in my network. And what we took away from that game, it's a powerful game, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I had a really good friend share with me that when she met you, Crystal, when she heard your story, she said you were telling her story.
Yeah, she started to cry.
She started to cry. And it's amazing.
And I didn't know her. No one knew each other. Everyone knew Beverly, right? The main connector there was Beverly. No one knew. We were all meeting each other for the first time besides Beverly.
Yeah.
And that game, when you share, it asks you questions. And when you share and you answer the question, that's how we all knew we weren't really strangers.
Mm-hmm. Right. And it was beautiful. And some people, when you're telling story among women and you're talking about whether you experienced abuse, whether you're going through divorce, whether you were raised in a single parent household, because the card produces questions that, allow you to share a little bit about your life story. And we thought that was amazing. And so to hear, and honestly, it connected these women, on a whole nother level. Like our little community, we bonded so much that we started getting together once a month. Yes, a sisterhood. I mean, we took a road trip together. That's some serious. We went to New Orleans and had a good time. That's a whole community right there when you're wanting to, travel with people and get to know them a little bit better. And that's exactly what we did. We fell in love with the idea of sharing our very stories with others. It helped us to be vulnerable, which a lot of women, I grew up with a lot of ego, a lot of, I don't know. I don't even want to go there. You know what I'm saying? Like you grow up with,
That's a whole other episode, girl.
Yeah, yeah. We'll get to it. We'll get to all the things. But yeah, and so it's been a blessing. And I'm so thankful that we're finally here. We're doing this together. We had talked about always wanting to do a little bit something together. And that's what we hope to gain from this. And so that's just where we're starting right now. We are going to come back in just a moment. We're going to take a short commercial break, but we're going to go a little bit more into how we met and then just what you hopefully can take away from your life, your relationships, your friendships, and all the things like that. So please stand by and we'll be right back with you. All right. So, welcome back to Her Divine Voice Talk Show, a podcast that is by women for women. I'm your host, Beverly Coleman, and this is our co host, Miss Crystal Robles. And as promised, we're going to be sharing a bit about how we met. Again, we just really want to share about us so that we earn your time whenever we're on here. We want to be able to, give some real talk with women of faith, share a little bit of conversation with you, and then just from a Christian or spiritual point of view. You know what I'm saying? Our goal is always to keep it real, even when it's uncomfortable. Always. We know that every woman doesn't share the same point of view, and that's okay. You know what I mean? But as women and in this time of life, we want to stay connected, be relevant, walk in our truth as we live it. And of course, we wanted to have an opportunity to share that with you as well.
Yes.
What do you think about that, Miss Crystal?
Yes. And we're here gonna, empower, motivate, lift the women, in this community. We're excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, very excited. I'm excited. And like I said, guys, this is our first time, but guess what? It's gonna get better. And we're gonna keep it real on here, okay? It's not gonna be perfect.
For it being our first time, please extend your grace.
Yes,
and come and support.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to start first with sharing a little bit about my friend Crystal, who's a dedicated mom of two. She has two daughters. And I always say she balances life, homeschooling. She works full time. She's running a thriving online beauty and wellness business. And she has a passion for empowering women like I've never seen before. She's mentored a group of ladies to success and proudly earned the #1 spot for sales in her previous projects. And that's a huge shout out to you, Miss Crystal. She's committed to helping others to be the best version of themselves. And Crystal inspires and motivates women to pursue their dreams with confidence. And I think that's important, guys. And let me tell you why. We have a little age difference between us, but when I look at her and her fire, I think to myself, like, man, I used to be that way. I need to get back to that.
I bring it out though. We hang out, we hang out together. I bring it out.
Exactly. And that's what it is. And that's why you want to connect yourself and have a community of women that will keep you motivated to do what it is that you want to do, what you hope to do, what you aspire to do, that to help you be great. And that's just not like you'll learn over time. That's just not sweet talk or motivational talk. Like that's what's going to propel you to the next level to get where you want to need to be. And it may not be smooth sailing. It may not be perfect. Everybody is not a cookie cutter version of success. I'm the type of person, I'm a literal thinker. So if somebody says, this is the game plan, the way my mind works is this is the only game plan. But what I have learned by watching Crystal and just other women is that there's no cookie cutter way to success. Like you can take some of these crumbs that people give you and build your own house. But if you have all of these things as a foundation, you're going to build it's going to be rock solid. And that's what I appreciate about Miss Crystal, because she never wavers. Like everybody has their ups and downs, but she doesn't waver. And in her downtime, she enjoys exploring digital marketing, which is so over my head. Yes, I have dived my foot into it. I have indeed. I have done my best, but I'll get there. She does thrift shopping, which I really love about her, because she'll always be like, and she'll post on social media and be like, look at these blah, blah, blahs that I got with this label and blah, blah, blah. And you'll be like, how much did you pay? You'll text her, how much did you pay? And it's like, how did you get that? Like, I need to go with you. The girl will save $1. Okay. And then she loves cherishing moments with her loved ones. I mean, if you know her and you know her mom, I call Miss Margarita, baby. You see where she's cut from. She is from New York. She's freaking amazing. I love her accent. I used to tell you, remind me of Evelyn Lozado because she is spicy.
I love Evelyn.
You remind me of her. It's like, don't get her started. Like, she's demure, but get her started. I'm like, okay. So that's why I love you. Listen, I think all the people should know you. I think you're amazing. Yeah.
Thank you. So now it's my turn to introduce you to Beverly Hayes Coleman. Listen, it's before I even start, I just want to say such a blessing knowing this woman right here. She has been such a blessing in my life. How she connects people, it's just it's a God gift. Seriously, it really is. You know, she's one that you want to have on your side. She's one that you want to be part of her life, but you also want her to be part of your life because of what she not only brings out of you, but the words that she affirms you all the time. As you guys could see how much affirming she did with me. This is her all the time. Okay. So Miss Beverly Hayes Coleman, she's the CEO of her Kingdom Come Publishing. Yes, y'all. She is a published author of 2 novels and 2 journals, with her most recent journal being found on Amazon called 30 Days of Grace, Be Bold, Be Brave, Be Free. Her most recent book called Summer Snow, which I have right here. You literally get. Don't read this at nighttime because you're going to stay up, okay? And if you have a nighttime routine, listen, it'll keep you up. And she designed it for me when I got it. So I am literally like one of her best books, okay? It's also on Amazon. And she has gotten some amazing reviews. She is currently working on the sequel titled Winter Rain. And from what I heard, it's going to be a good one. And from what I read, you guys already know it's going to be a good one, okay? Beverly is a married woman of 27 years. God bless, right? God bless. With 3 daughters and 3 grandchildren. When I read this, I was like, wait, three? And I've known her for 10 years. 3, and she looks amazing for her age, y'all. Like, you wouldn't even think that she's a grandmother. Seriously, I had to read that 3 times. I was like, wait, what? Am I seeing that right? 3, okay. She's a fan of movies, great food, and reading impassioned novels that make your heart wonder. Hailing from Minnesota by way of Chicago and finally landing in Florida. She has been here for 10 plus years now, and I'm so grateful because I've came from New York and it's been 10. I'm going on 11 years now here in Florida. Okay. She worked in the telecommunication industry for 25 plus years and currently spends her time helping others bring their books to life, as well as her other businesses where she is an intimacy consultant for women. If you're wondering what is that, follow her and her DM, but she's amazing. Okay. Beverly has said on many occasions that she has a servant heart and loves to help others accomplish their goals. When I tell you that, it is true. That is so true. It's 100% her. In all my business ventures and anything, she has always supported. Never was like, send me the link and never did anything. No, what do you need for you to get to your goal? That's the type of woman she is. And that's, again, people you need in your circle. Okay. Her favorite quote is, "Today does not represent the entire book of my life. It's just a page I'm on." You're going to want to name that, okay?
And you know, that's so true. That's so true because you know what? We go through life. We go through a lot of things, Crystal. Like, and sometimes people will judge you by who you are in that moment. Oh, like she's not doing nothing. She ain't nobody. She don't. You know what I'm saying? Women can be so mean to each other.
But I don't mean to interrupt you. But you saying that, you're not going to get anywhere. She's not going to do anything. We self-sabotage and say that about ourselves sometimes too. Yeah. So that quote in itself, you have to remind yourself, right? That's where you are right now. It doesn't mean that you're going to be there forever. As books have chapters in it, right? Your life also has chapters.
That's right. So we do hope you gain a little bit of more insight into who we are, what we do, and why we love what we do, and why we want to share it with you. And just really, like I said, we want to take an opportunity to earn your time when we come on here. I think we're doing this every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
All right. So you can find us on the Daily Gospel Network on Roku, Fire TV. And then, of course, it's going to be on Apple for the for the podcast. But look, we're going to take a pause for a brief commercial break. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, you guys. We love talking to you. All right. Really quick. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our very first episode of Her Divine Voice podcast. We really love that title too, right? Her Divine Voice. Yeah. And this is a podcast having a conversation for women by women. I'm your host, Beverly Hayes Coleman, and with our co-host, Crystal Robles. And today we're just getting to know you, so to speak, giving you an opportunity to get to know us. We want to come on here and have really real conversations with women. I'm a woman. I'm not even going to tell my age. I'm just saying, like, if you've been listening, then you know I've been around. I've been in this game for a minute. And over time, you learn things, right? You learn things about yourself as a woman. My mom's generation, they didn't talk a lot about the things that we deal with today. Why? Because they didn't have social media growing up. They didn't have a lot of the things that we take for granted today. And so, and even things about women, you know what I mean? Like our bodies, our health, our mental well-being. In my mom's generation and her mom's generation, it was unheard of to go to therapy. Like Black people don't go to therapy. Was it like that in the Latin community?
Yeah, same.
Yeah. And so basically it was shameful. I remember in my 20s when I went to therapy, I didn't tell anybody because I was like, they're going to think I'm weak. They're going to think I know what I'm doing. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so in life can be tumultuous. And so what I've learned over time, especially having 3 grown daughters, is I want to create a platform that lets them know that they not only can come to their mom, but as we spoke earlier about that game, We're Not Really Strangers, that other women go through what we all go through. Right, Crystal?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you don't, and this is why I always say your circle and the people that you're with is very important, because you have to be able to be transparent with, with those tight knit friends of yours where you can get good advice.
Yeah.
Okay. I usually get my advice from my mom, right? But there's sometimes where, I reach out to Beverly. I don't reach out to all my friends, right? Because not all of them, let's say, have experience or went through anything. Ask people for advice, or just for you to vent to those who walk the walk, for those who went through what you're going through, because then their feedback, their advice is going to be something of value.
Yeah.
And we have to get comfortable in that. It's, as women, we tend to hold things inside and carry that load. You see, but what happens is that load gets so heavy, and you need someone that could help you remove that load, and lift it away, where then you can, perform better tomorrow. And every day you just get better and better and better as a person. But again, it's very important to, again, who's your circle, who you're around, who you're listening to. Are you getting godly advice?
That's right.
That will help you move forward in life.
Yeah. And that's wisdom. And you'll learn, right, as you grow older, as you go through life. I used to be a huge advocate that if I'm having a conversation with women or a woman or a friend, if I'm the only one, showing my wounds and being vulnerable, this ain't the relationship for me.
Right.
Because I need to know that when I let my hair down and when I share my wounds, that I can be vulnerable and not worry about what I shared is going to be shared further.
Exactly.
Unless it's in an inspiring way. Like, hey, I know a girl that went through blah, 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 but don't mention her name. Let it be my testimony.
Right.
Let me share my own testimony. But I've always been a huge advocate of that type of relationship. I can't be the only one showing my wounds, because then I don't feel safe. You know what I mean? And then Right. And you just have to discern, is this that type of friendship? And that's where they also talk about, you've heard people say people come into your life for a reason or a season. And that's okay too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's okay too. And like I said, we just want to be able to share with you guys who we are, what we do, open up conversations to learn with us, grow from us, all the things from us. On future episodes, we'll have some really great guests lined up for you. We're going to share topics, anything from marriage, women of faith, being a single lady as a woman of faith, many challenges, and like Crystal said, I've been married for 27 years, but baby, that doesn't mean it was 27 years of amazingness. And
Yeah.
if you knew me, it wasn't. But God, at the end of the day, that's period. But God, it's not about, how a woman may have sacrificed or she, let things go or he let things go. It's not anything like that. I would wager that what two people in a marriage go through on a day-to-day basis and then choose to stick it out, that's why they say marriage is a choice. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
It's
Marriage,
true.
and nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have some really good conversations. Crystal, we wanted to talk about also other things like raising daughters, women in business, all the things. Crystal, when we talk about women in business, raising children, you and I, we have these conversations, you going through a divorce, anything like that. Let me ask you this, as a woman of faith, and we're just going to leave the people with a little bit of something today. As a woman of faith, can you share with us a little bit about maybe how you navigated that, what you took away from it? You might help someone that might be going through it right now. Like I said, you guys, this is a conversation where we like to keep it real. Sometimes Crystal may be vulnerable. Definitely, I know I'm going to be vulnerable. And bring on people to help us navigate some of the terrain that we as women go through, especially in 2025 with all the new things that are happening. Like everybody, even though everybody doesn't share the same point of view, at the end of the day, we're still women and
Yeah.
we need to stick together.
Exactly.
Crystal, yes, would you mind going through a little bit of that with us, and just as a woman of faith, how you decided like this is how I'm going to roll out?
Yeah, so I've come from a family that few of us get married, right? My mom, she was with my dad for a period of time and then he was abusive and then she left him. And then
Mm,
she raised me as a single mom. And so then when I was like in my 28, close to 30, I always wanted to be married. I
mhm,
wanted to break that generational curse. And so, yeah, I got married and I had two beautiful daughters from that marriage. But 6 years later, then I had divorced. Unfortunately, it was something that was a very hard and dark chapter in my life
yeah,
because when you get married to someone, it's like till death do us part, right?
mm,
Through sickness, through health, right? You exchange vows, you mean it. I wanted to have that long marriage, 27 plus years. Unfortunately, it didn't happen that way because he is mentally ill. And at that point, I had to choose to death do us part through sickness and health, or my life can be in danger. My daughter's lives can be in danger, And at that time, I'm so grateful that I had some Christian women mentors that helped me through that. That
mm,
it was like, no, it's okay. You're in a situation where it's okay to get divorced, because I felt like, okay, God, you allowed this to happen, right? To get married. And now I'm getting divorced. Like, what's going on? Like, do I stay? Do I go? What do I do? And
yes,
if it wasn't for those women in my life at that time, in that season, who knows? I probably would have stayed and it would have not been pretty, right? But
yeah,
no, I decided to get divorced and chose my daughter's lives, their livelihood, to keep them safe first and foremost. And it
mhm,
was very, I went through depression.
mhm,
I lost a lot of weight. I actually had to see my first therapist. And it was something that I was just like, I don't
yeah,
think I need a therapist, right? Because coming from, Hispanic um background culture, I was like, we don't need no therapist, right? But
mhm,
no, I needed a therapist. And luckily she was a Christian therapist and she helped me through it. She helped me through with patterns from all the way from my great grandmother to my grandmother, to something powerful that I learned through that therapy that so 8, 9 years later, I want to say, I still keep with me to this day. she was like, write a letter to everyone that you're upset with, everyone that you're, and that was including my ex-husband, right? It was including everybody that was so upset. And one of those letters was to God. And I was like, dear God, I am so upset that you allow me to go. I wrote it all out. And then I had to read it out loud. And that was a session that took forever because I was just bawling and crying. And then after that, I had to burn that letter. Burn it. And once I burned it, it released. I was able to release everything that I was feeling, let go, let God, right? And at that point, I restored my relationship with God. And I was like, you allowed me to go through that for a greater purpose that you have for my life. I am so grateful that you gave me the strength and you had people in my circle that helped lift me up. Okay. Like when I tell you I hit rock bottom, I hit rock bottom. Like I wasn't working. I was a stay-at-home mom when I was married. No one wanted to hire me because it was 4 years in my gap in my resume. I had to settle for a $9 job and then get another job and then build myself up from then. But let me tell you, when I saw God's hand in my life, no one after that, seeing how God worked in my life and my children's life, could never tell me that God isn't real.
I love that.
Never. And I accepted that divorce. I said, God, you chose me, to go through this and to help other women. I am so grateful that instead of me asking, why did this happen to me? I'm grateful that it did happen to me because it happened for me.
Yeah.
And for whoever comes my way, for whoever, for whatever purpose God has me to go through that, share my testimony, I'll stand firm and I'll share that testimony because God is good, even though you go through such change in your life like that. When you're married, you should know, Beverly, you share dreams together, you share goals, you become one. And then once you divorce, that shatters. Your dreams that you have with this person is no longer. But again, I saw how God turned something bad to something so good that I don't regret it. I wouldn't change anything. How some people say, I wish I never got with this person. I'm so thankful that I did because out of that marriage, 2 beautiful girls, God rewarded me with.
Yes.
For that, I will always be grateful. I
know that's right. That is so powerful, Crystal. That's why I love hearing your story. You always, like, first of all, I can hear you giving God glory. I'm thankful that you shared your weak moment when you were admitting that I was mad at God, because a lot of people think it's sacrilege to be honest with your feelings. Like, I was mad at God. But what I understand, with us being in this grace dispensation, God does not hate the people that get divorced. You are not the problem because you get divorced. He just doesn't like divorce, and you do what you have to do. You understand? And God doesn't love you any less. Thank you for sharing that, Crystal. And so listen, guys, we want to give a heartfelt thank you to all of our little listeners today. I'm going to say our big listeners because we plan on growing this thing, Miss Crystal, and spending time with us. We pray that you take away something that blesses you, encourages you, and motivates you to keep going, and also to call back, to log back in and listen to us. Don't forget to join us again next time. We're going to be talking a little bit more about God's plan. We're so excited about that. And we'll discuss how sometimes things that you struggle with, things that you're doing, and then it gets in our way, and then we kind of forget God's plan. You can get discouraged sometimes. You might be wondering sometimes, like, what is taking God so long? We want to bring a new flavor to that as well, to the table, to just open up some discussion about that, because over here, like I said, we keep it real. We want to keep it truthful as we're walking in it. Did you want to say anything, Crystal, before we close out?
I'm just so excited for what God's going to do on this podcast, and I am praying and hoping that you guys log on, share, and be lifted and stay motivated.
Amen. And so thank you for joining us today. Remember, always be praying and always be in expectation. Thank you for listening to us, guys. Have a great day.
Bye now.
Fearfully and wonderfully made, confidence be displayed, success is unavoidable, desires will be attained, and you are capable. Can't no one stop your hustle, you're resilient and brilliant, your blessings have no ceiling, you shine and keep grinding. This spiritual remedy is divine and designed for your heart to align with your mind, a prophet for the queendom's hotline, a vision.